It's very late. And I quite literally mean that in two ways. One, it isn't even close to being December. At all. Even in the slightest. And two, I'm recording this at 12:40 a.m. That's the time of the day you're usually supposed to be asleep. But I will sleep when I'm dead because I'm here to tell you about what I watched in December and every movie I watched in December and what some of the worst movies I saw in December were, and also what were some of the best movies. My ear is horrifically clogged. We are off to a banger start. I'll do like I normally do. I will go through a complete list of what I saw, as well as giving my Letterboxd review off to the side. Grab some popcorn, go ahead and sit on down, and let's get straight into the list of what all I saw this month. I saw Venom: The Last Dance, Brightburn, Spring Breakers, Kraven the Hunter, Crazy Rich Asians, Five Nights at Freddy 2, Eternity, The Wolf of Wall Street, Red Rocket, Praying with Anger, Midsummer, Zootopia 2, Ambulance, Aftersun, Ex Machina, Karate Kid Legends, Wake Up Dead Man, First Reformed, Until Dawn, The Big Snit, a short film, Talk to Me, Maze Runner: The Death Cure, Moonlight, The Revenant, Avatar: Fire and Ash, Waves, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle short film that I saw before the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, SpongeBob: The Search for SquarePants, Interstellar, S7 The Lost Chapter, Yuki's Revenge, After Yang, Slender Man, Tarot, Uncut Gems, Materialists, One Battle After Another, The Green Knight, A Charlie Brown Christmas, A House of Dynamite, Anaconda, The Housemaid, Marty Supreme, Begonia, Lamb, Train Dreams, Warfare, Eden, and I capped off the year with Swiss Army Man. So let's go ahead and get them out of the way. You know they're coming, okay? My top 5 least favorites from this month. And I have one honorable mention, and that is FNAF 2. Don't get me wrong, I didn't like Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It was pretty bad. But I would loosely consider rewatching this movie, and I can say with confidence that every other movie on this list I wouldn't even consider rewatching. And with that being said, let's talk about Tarot, which is number 5 on this list. Tarot was not scary at all, other than a jump scare or two that actually kind of worked. And it can't make it any higher on this list. It was very bad though. It was not good. It was very bad. Number 4, Red Rocket. This is a personal example of how something can be very, very cinematically impressive, but I can only take so much sleaze from characters, and this movie just took it a step too far. it was kind of ridiculous. I didn't find myself caring about any of the characters. Honestly, everybody is terrible, and I personally need at least some character to latch on to for me to enjoy a story at all. And this movie is just aggravating, but it is cinematically impressive, which is why I don't put it any higher on the list. Number 3 is Slender Man. This was boring. This was not scary. This was slop. And oink oink, I guess, because I stinking watched it. Number 2 is Until Dawn. And I went through a pretty rough patch of watching movies in December, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I couldn't decide on where to put Until Dawn and Slender Man on this list. I knew they were going in the 2 or 3 slots, so I just flipped a coin for, and heads got higher on the list, and Until Dawn got heads. I flipped heads for Until Dawn. And number 1 is Spring Breakers. What a nothing burger. I mean, literally, there was nothing for me to break down other than trying to figure out what's going on and why these characters are acting this way. I didn't find this cinematically pleasing at all because there wasn't really a story and the camera work didn't really make sense. It felt kind of like it was a music video, and a bad one at that. It did a thing or two well, especially in the setup, making you try and feel for one character in particular, but then they kind of sort of table that character and make you not really care about her feelings at all for the rest of the movie. Basically, she kind of just departs the movie and doesn't come back at any point. So that's very, very aggravating. It was just an aggravating experience all around that gave me nothing to think about and just made me mad. Now let's get off the dadgum negativity and let's go on to my honorable mentions for my favorite movies of this month. And the reason why all of these movies were technically rated higher than I think anything on this list, but they were all rewatches, so I didn't want my list to be the same from previous months. You kind of follow where I'm going? The honorable mentions are Interstellar, The Revenant, One Battle After Another, and Zootopia 2. These are all great movies, but I've seen all of them before. Therefore, I hate to give them a slot on this list to take away from incredible movies. And speaking of incredible movies, I saw so many good movies this month that I added an extra slot for my top 5. So without further ado, number 6 on the list of my favorites from December is Eternity. And yeah, I broke the mold with this. The movie just very, very much, and by broke the mold, I mean I couldn't decide what movie to not include on the list. So it's honestly one of the best rom-coms I've ever seen, and it's actually a rom-com, unlike other movies that claim to be rom-coms, but that I just don't find funny. So I really, really liked this. It was a great, great time. Next up on the list is First Reform, and I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie's ending until I thought about it extensively and thought about what the movie was going for up to this ending. And I was like, that ending is legitimately perfect for this specific movie. I just think if you haven't seen First Reformed, as long as you're in a good headspace and as long as you have, I think First Reformed is a good, fully developed brain movie. It's probably not one that you want to watch when you are particularly impressionable, and by impressionable I mean, you know, young or at an extremely influenceable point in your life. I think that this was great and that it was a great movie, and I really enjoyed it. Number 4 is Wake Up Dead Man, and this is honestly my favorite Knives Out movie of the trilogy. I think it was great. I think the mystery is solid. I think the characters are better in this movie than in any other movie. I think the ensemble cast, I think that the ensemble cast in Knives Out was stronger a little bit, but characters stuck out to me more in this movie, Wake Up Dead Man, than they did from from in Knives Out. And Glass Onion is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not even really super comparable to either of these two movies, to me at least. And there's one scene which I'm sure if you've been on Movie Talk at all, or if you've seen people breaking down this movie, there's one scene that's absolutely excellent. I mean, perfect filmmaking in this. There's a couple scenes that are great filmmaking, but there's one scene that's just perfect filmmaking, perfect writing, really, really great stuff. I love to see this movie, and I hate that my Netflix subscription has expired because I would watch it again. Number 3 is S7N. See what I did there? It was a joke using the letter 7 instead of pronouncing it like it's supposed to be as a V for some reason. Absolutely epic detective mystery movie. I kind of really want to rewatch it again already. It kept me on the edge of my seat literally the entire time. I was tense literally the entire time. Absolutely excellent ending to the movie. And I watched it because of a joke in Bob's Burgers. That is legitimately the kind of pull that show has on my life. Number 2 on my list is Marty Supreme. And man, what a treat to get to see this in theaters, dude. I haven't seen a movie that drew me into the story and drew me into the world and completely made me not care about the fact that the teenage girls sitting in the row behind us were like cackling and giggling every 5 to 7 minutes at, I'm pretty sure, TikTok, legitimately, because they just were nothing funny was happening on screen. They would bust out laughing during scenes that aren't even, like, ironically funny. And they freaked out during the bathtub scene because obviously they've never seen a movie with that stressful of a singular series of moments happening in it. Regardless, it was still a great time, and dadgummit, I didn't even get mad at the guy that took a phone call sitting right next to us. I didn't even get upset at all. At number 1 on my list, my favorite movie that I saw this month is actually the last movie I saw this year. We ended on a banger, and that was Swiss Army Man. Now, Swiss Army Man is a very random, humor-wise movie. I think if you liked the humor in Everything Everywhere All at Once, you will like the humor in this. I thought that the humor in this was a lot better than in Everything Everywhere All at Once, because in this movie, the humor at least tied into the story. As an example, in Everything Everywhere All at Once, there is this one extended gag about these people having really, really long sausage fingers that does not play into the story at all whatsoever. It is just they have sausage fingers, therefore that is funny. Whereas in Swiss Army Man, a running gag in the movie is that this dude farts a lot. Like, I mean, legitimately, the start of the movie is so incredibly absurd. He turns into a jet ski. He turns into a fart-powered jet ski. I'm not making this up. And that ties back in to a conversation that is had later in the film that influences the protagonist in the film. And that's the kind of random humor I like. The kind of random humor that it seems random, but then it ties in. I don't necessarily like random humor unless it's supposed to be, you know, I have a very, very difficult time watching comedy movies just because the humor most of the time doesn't stick with me. This is some of the hardest I've laughed at a movie all this year. It's very, very good. And honestly, I think I'm going to rewatch this again. I watched it as a part of my 12 Days of A24 challenge video, which that's coming up very soon, by the way. It was just great. It was just an absolute treat and a great movie to end the year on. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe, because next month, and by next month, I mean the video coming out tomorrow or the next day, I will be seeing a ton of great stuff, or have had seen great stuff in January. Disregard the fact that I'm recording this on the 31st of January. Thank you all so much for watching. Things have been busy, but dadgummit, what I saw in January here. Click it now.